please allow me to introduce Mr. Jorge Sebastiao, the CEO and co-founder of JBO. Mr. Sebastiao is a seasoned technologist with over 36 years of experience in innovative technologies for digital transformation, including artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, blockchain, cloud computing, and data centers. Everyone, please put your hands together, welcoming him with a very large round of applause.
I guess good afternoon. My name is George. We're going to be spending, I guess, the next 20 minutes or so together. So I'll try to make it as informative as possible and as brief as possible. It is important to understand that in today's world, when we use technology, we actually use technology to make impacts on the businesses that we are creating. So I'm going to discuss how two of these technologies are actually creating a major impact. I've had the opportunity of spending the last 36 years as a technologist, so I've seen the evolution of a whole series of technologies over time. So when we're talking really about disruption, we're talking a major impact in how you run your businesses. We're not talking about 5, 10, or 15% increase in efficiency. We're talking about efficiencies that are sometimes 10 times, 50 times, or 100 times. That's where you create the major impact. How many people here have seen something like Rubik's Cube? Remember the little thing you used to rotate? If you're not very good, it might take you a few weeks to figure it out. If you practice a lot, maybe you can finish it in an hour. If you're extremely good and agile, maybe 15 minutes. What if you use the technologies, modern like robotics, AI, and all that? What is the number that you think this can be done in? This number really is about the impact of speed. So when we introduce these new technologies, we're creating a massive impact at the speed at which businesses can operate.
Solving in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah.
You did it. Yeah.
This is the slow version. .38 seconds. That's the kind of impact that you want to have on your business. So, technology projects look simple, but in reality, they're very complex. If you want to succeed in using technology, you have to pay extreme attention how to stitch that technology together so it actually works to help your business. So you need to pay attention to a lot of small details. If you don't, you become a little bit like Michael Tyson, if you remember where he says, you have a plan until you get hit. How do you get up? In business technology, we call this disaster recovery and business continuity, but in the real business, it's a lot more difficult. I'm going to be talking about two specific technologies. One is artificial intelligence and blockchain, but I want to mention that many technologies today are contributing extremely to the impact on how we function, from social media to mobile to cloud, to Internet of Things. And why those technologies are important? Because combined together, they give value to the most important asset that you have today. And the most important asset is data, and sometimes referred to data is the new oil. What do I mean by this importance? Let me look at this chart. If you take somebody like Spotify, which was originally founded not too far from Norway, and one of the biggest investors is actually from Norway, it took 11 years to reach 100 million users, and so on. Look what happened to something called ChatGPT. How many people here have used ChatGPT? A few. I'll explain a few things. It took actually 2 months to reach 100 million users. That's what I mean by impact. Why ChatGPT was able to do that? Because AI has been with us for almost 20 years. Nobody really knew how to use it. It was very difficult. So when the grandmother knows how to use ChatGPT because the interface is easy, it's simple, you get this massive adoption. That's the easy part. But in order for this to happen, a lot of things need to happen. So what we call machine learning, actually large language models, and many other things. To train the ChatGPT using internet up to 2019, which is ChatGPT 2, took something like 6 months. The new version of ChatGPT took 1/4 of the time because the technology that we actually used to it was much faster and much more efficient. The same thing is happening with blockchain. Many of you are here today because blockchain is important to you. Some of you are launching tokens and you hope to retire very early. For me, I look at more enterprise blockchain. Let me give you one example. One of the largest telecom, or probably the largest telecom operator in the world, is using blockchain to automate their contracts between themselves and their suppliers. I will not tell you the name. The technology was developed here, but I can tell you what the impact was. That mobile operator is saving $450 million a year in operational costs because their contracts are digital through smart contracts rather than be paper adjustments. You can imagine what this does for your business. You can now reallocate those funds to something much more important and much more useful. Many of you are doing NFTs. There's a good friend of mine here. I know him since almost 24 years. Is a gentleman by the name of Dr. Marwan. Maybe you have heard him. He's the head of the Blockchain Center. He's got 55 cars, most of them collectibles. One of them is a Tesla. Costs about $100,000. It's created, he turned it into an NFT, combined the two together. How much do you think his car is worth now? Between $400,000 and $500,000. So a $100,000 car becomes 4 to 5 times much more valuable. This is what I mean by major impact in technology. I'm not going to here to describe all the potential use cases of either blockchain or, in this case, NFT, which is a very small subset within what we can do with blockchain. And the previous speaker talked about degrees and other things that you could put on the blockchain to create value for them. Now I'm going to talk about a technology, the one that is actually used in ChatGPT, and that's AI. What has enabled AI to do the job that it's done today? It's massive reduction in the cost of computing, massive reduction in the cost of storage, and higher speeds of transmission. When all those three things come together, you get a whole new generation of data centers. But this new generation of data centers are very different than the ones that we have built in the past. Why are they different? Because instead of using 5 or 10 kilowatts per rack, they use 15 or 50 to 500 kilowatts per rack. So the data centers are now using something like 50 megawatts instead of 10 megawatts. Means they need much higher power consumption to be able to do their job. They use much faster connection between the machines. They use different methods of cooling. Instead of using air, no, the machines are very hot. So you need to use things like free cooling. You need to use water directly to the chip. Very similar, many of you probably have used gaming machines. Get very hot, so you need to cool those machines in order to be able to, because they use very similar technology, what we call GPU technology, and so on. They're agile, they're modern, they can easily be deployed. Traditional data centers used to take on average 2 to 3 years to build. The data centers we build today can be done in 3 to 6 months. And this technology can be deployed in as little time as 45 days. So from having nothing to actually being able to train new models. Let me get back to ChatGPT. ChatGPT is primarily useful because it's based on internet. Now, imagine you have a company and you have all the data in that company, not the data of the internet, and you use that to train. What that will do for you as an employee, how faster can you work? Now you're not just alone. You have a co-pilot with you. And that co-pilot is all the workers that are in your company with you, because now you have access to that information through a very user-friendly interface. Now, if you want to do all these technologies together, you need to have the proper architecture. You need to have the proper structure to be able to implement that. And that goes from building fast, hyperscale data centers, to have the right cloud environment, and then to have the necessary processes, and then you put the business on top of all of these. The same way blockchain can help a very specific set of industries, AI does the same. But magic happens when you combine multiple technologies together. You can combine AI and blockchain, because now you can trust the data better. You can control the models. You can have identity management within the models. And you can help industries in a completely different way that you were able to do it before. In the case, for example, of AI, there's very important shortcomings that blockchain enhances AI in a way that is not able to serve us today. So attribution ownership, transparency, licensing, and all that. And you already saw some of the problems in ChatGPT, where people say, oh, they're using something that belongs to me, it's copyrighted, you're not allowed to use it. So they had to go back and rewrite some of these machine training levels. However, what I want to leave you when you go out of this room, don't think just blockchain and AI. Think data and everything that contributes to the value of that data. Blockchain is a technology of trust. It allows you to trust the data. AI is a technology of monetization and automation of that data to extract insights from that data. But you need to collect that data. So IoT, what we call Internet of Things, IoE, Internet of Everything. One example, this little watch I carry, it allows me to tell how much I slept yesterday, where I'm still alive, or I've been exercising enough. You need to collect that data so that AI and blockchain can actually do its job. Now, you automate the tasks that you do every day, not just through traditional programming, but also through robotics, and you have a whole new generation of services. Jorge, which is a good friend of mine as well, who was here just before me, he talked about versions of the new world and where you use blockchain to create new cities. But imagine if those cities are not just blockchain, AI, robotics. By the way, that's what Saudi Arabia is trying to do in NEOM, so I'll get you. So if you think NEOM is a smart city, no, it's a conscientious city. It's a bit like thinking that Tesla is a car company. Tesla is not a car company. Tesla is a data company. It's about monetizing the data. So you have to start thinking differently in today's world. So think of how you can take multiple technologies, combine them together to accelerate the businesses that you're trying to impact. And that is what is going to create tomorrow's billionaires. I have a good friend of mine by the name of Brock Pierce, and he actually created what he calls the definition of the modern billionaire. And his definition goes like this. A billionaire or a modern billionaire is somebody who creates a solution that impacts 1 billion people. So where are those billion people? There's 1 billion people in Africa, there's 1 billion people in India, 1 billion people in China, and quite a few other billions in the rest of the world. So how you create solutions that use technology to impact the daily lives of those people. I said it was not easy. There's many things to do correctly to achieve those goals. That means integration, agility, simplify the complexity of the solutions. If you think just technology, the grandmother will not be able to use the solution that you create. And that's one of the biggest problems today of blockchain. Have you tried using DeFi or connecting your MetaMask wallet? It's a nightmare. Make it simple. Your technology will go far. And never forget, you have to continue learning all the time, because what you know today, tomorrow, is even more important. What is happening here in Dubai? Why is Dubai, for example, doing things differently than everybody else? They went to every ministry and they said, you will use blockchain. So today there is blockchain in every single ministry. They said AI is important. So they created the first AI minister in the world. They gave visibility to the technology at the government level. This is how you create impact in the society. But the impact is not going to come in this room. It's what you take with you and you're going to do when you leave this room. So I invite you to think outside the box and how you're going to transform the businesses that you came here to learn about. This is the short time I had with you today. I hope you enjoyed. The rest we can do online. Thank you.